So I come bearing great news. I just got word while you've been in here that Mitt Romney has been banned from Twitter. I got bad news. It was only his fake account. It's not his real one. Just his fake account. My bad. My bad.
What? That's what I call conservative comedy? Why would the conservatives in the audience cheer for that? I thought they were against Twitter banning people. Let's imagine for a second that, you know, it's the middle of a pandemic. Okay, that's pretty easy to picture. But let's say all of a sudden your crazy boomer conspiracy theorist uncle says, screw it, let's go on a little vacay. And you decide to join him. You're sick of being cooped up, and he decides to take a trip, no, not down to rural Alabama, but pretty comparably to CPAC. That's not just an imaginary theory, however. That is actually something that just happened. Yeah, CPAC. CPAC happened. There was once a time where I wanted to go to CPAC. I was actually trying to get like VIP access to CPAC. I would have loved to speak there. And you know what? The troll inside of me would still absolutely love to go to CPAC. Come on, that would be so much fun. I could just ask a couple questions, get people mad. Of course, there'd be some haters there that already recognized me. I should have gone to CPAC. I'm not jealous, though. No, because CPAC was a massive, massive disaster. From peddling long debunked lies about voter fraud to just flat out idolatry, CPAC was the circus that had it all. Now, it's funny, at almost the very beginning of CPAC, they were already having problems with a bunch of dumb conservatives not wearing their masks. Obviously, we've been over the mask wearing thing plenty of times. I'm sure I'll be forced to talk about this once again since conservatives just use the same talking points, it seems, for like 8, maybe 10 years. But yeah, the conference pretty much kicked off with CPAC officials begging attendees to please wear a mask and getting booed for it.
At this CPAC to talk about the Bill of Rights. But I also want to mention one thing, and I know this might sound like a little bit of a downer, but we also believe in property rights, and this is a private hotel. And we believe in the rule of law, so we need to comply with the laws of this county that we're in. But a private hotel, just like your house, gets to set its own rules. Carly, our CPAC director.
They're like so nervous. They don't want to say it yet. They're like, so first of all, the Bill of Rights, Constitution, we all like that, right? You're hearing the correct buzzwords? Okay, Carly, you want to take it over? Maybe they'll listen to a blonde woman better than me?
Well, as Dan mentioned, we are in a private facility, and we do want to be respectful of the ordinances that they have as their private property. So please, everyone, when you're in the ballroom, when you're seated, you should still be wearing a mask. So if everybody can go ahead, work on that.
This is how it was. They're listening. They hear wear a mask, please. Takes a moment to process. Kablam.
I know it's not the most fun.
You have the right.
So for those of you who can't hear it, they are yelling, freedom, give us our freedom. Excuse me, everybody, the hotel rules are that you must be wearing shirt and shoes. Please, everybody, put your clothing back on. Freedom!
You have the right to set the own rules in your own house, and we're borrowing somebody else's house. So we need to comply with that rule.
Look at his face. He's like, oh my God, the oil billionaires are not paying me enough for this. We then got a really crazy advertisement.
President Trump, he's a real American samurai. I want to make...
Is this cultural appropriation? No, I'm kidding. But what the hell? That is... You know who else is a real American samurai? Me, bitch. I didn't do that as cool as he did. He's more like...
Let's fight together for freedom. Let's slash the cancel culture. Let's start use Japan. Samurai to samurai.
Well, with the way this guy's swinging his sword around... Maybe I'm gonna have to just go back to being a conservative. Because if I criticize this, he might come and fight the cancel culture and cancel my life. So let's move along from slicey dicey American samurai here onto some actual panelists. So here's a panelist talking about the January 6th insurrection. Very nice. Also, I have to say, cool hat. Tips fedora.
I go back to what I said before. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of people there. The Antifa was there. BLM was there. MAGA people were there. Yeah. Everybody was there.
The overwhelming majority of the people who raided the Capitol, who participated in the insurrection, and who have been convicted now for their crimes were super pro-Trump, QAnon conspiracy theorists. Let's stop pretending this had anything to do with BLM or Antifa, okay, buddy? There was like one Antifa instigator that got arrested as well, and I'm glad because he was participating in it and he should face consequences as well. But stop acting like this is just everybody participated in this. The insurrection, the actual crime, that was you guys.
Joe Biden wants to talk unity. There was unity there on that day because America is sick and tired of being pushed down. And we're sorry for, well.
Is he defending the insurrection? There was unity there? You know, man, I smashed open the Capitol window, climbed in. I was thinking, hey, before we go off to kill Nancy Pelosi, why don't we just hold hands, give each other a hug? And I brought cookies.
I gotta say, Orlando is awesome. It's not as nice as Cancun.
You know what? I don't even care. That was funny.
You walk in, you got to put your mask on. You sit down, you take your mask off. See, apparently the virus is actually connected to elevation.
Is this like a stand-up bit?
No, remember, this is all about science. It's actually, it may not be elevation. I think it's that there are hormones that are released in your thighs when you're sitting.
What? Your thighs don't release hormones, Ted.
So you can sit at the table and there's no virus being transmitted. But if you stand up, put the mask on!
So Ted Cruz playing dumb to own the libs? Is that what's happening here? Like, I almost feel like he's doing a stand-up bit, but it feels really awkward and uncomfortable and super politically motivated. Mix that in with the fact that everything he's saying is just stupid and wrong. It kind of takes away from any potential humor that might have been there. No, what's happening in most states is that the restaurants are operating at half capacity. We know how the virus is spread. We know how masks can slow the spread of COVID. So it makes sense that when you are in closer quarters, you wear the mask. When you are further away, about 6 feet, and you're eating, you take it off so you can eat, then you put it back on and leave. It's like trying to explain the color red to a blind person. It's not gonna happen.
We can have herd immunity everywhere, and we're gonna wear masks for the next 300 years. And by the way, not just one mask, 2, 3, 4. You can't have too many masks.
Why is he yelling?
How much virtue do you want to signal?
Do you know how annoying it is when conservatives claim that wearing a mask is virtue signaling? Virtually every business requires you wear a mask. You have to wear a mask right now to go anywhere. How is that virtue signaling? Isn't it also hilarious that they began this whole thing with, please wear a mask, enjoy the conference, but please, you need to wear a mask. And now a bunch of their speakers are just making fun of wearing masks and shitting on the whole idea of it.
This is just dumb.
Once again shows that conservatives mostly operate on intuition. It feels dumb. It just seems weird and different. Therefore, it must be wrong. It's a child's way of thinking. So there's Ted's argument. It's dumb. This is a U.S. senator, by the way. This guy has control over all of our lives, by the way.
130 criminal convictions for vote fraud. No, not accusations, not indictments, but criminal convictions. 1,130 of them. So don't tell me that vote fraud is just some right-wing hallucination. The November 2020 election was a nightmare.
One, the 2020 election was not a disaster at all. Official government agencies spoke out and said that they had no issues with the voting machines and that everything went pretty smoothly, all things considered. Secondly, he talks about this 1,130 voter fraud convictions. So he was citing the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank. And right here, 1,130 criminal convictions. But I think this is overall. There's no actual dates. But when you go to the searching of the database and you set the date to be 2020, right? You'll see that there wasn't actually very many. Yeah, there's one here. By using the conservatives' own little think tank here, there weren't really very many cases of voter fraud in 2020. And again, these people were convicted. They were stopped. It wasn't like their vote somehow made it through. I searched up this guy right here, Randy Allen Jumper. So here's how they do this. They show this guy, right? Oh, 2020. Oh shit, this guy, like, he got convicted. No, That was when he admitted and when he was convicted. He double voted in the year of 2016. He pled guilty to 1 felony count of attempted illegal voting. He admitted that he voted once in Pima County, Arizona by mail and once in Washoe County, Nevada. And he was sentenced to 3 years of probation for voting twice by mail in the 2016 general election. These are like nitty-gritty individual little cases. No one's saying that voter fraud never happens. You have hundreds of millions of people voting in the country. Of course, you're going to have some cases of voter fraud. What is a conservative hallucination is that there was some mass undercover voter fraud conspiracy that stole the election from Donald Trump. I'm disappointed, but not at all surprised to see CPAC pushing this kind of crap. They're still peddling this election fraud bullshit.
You know, we all lived through it in this election, didn't we? I've been through it too, but nobody has been hit by this like President Donald Trump.
Poor little baby Trump.
They decided they were going to fact check him, the leader of the free world, and then they were going to block him.
Wait, what's wrong with fact checking? Really? Do you think that the president of the United States should be above being fact checked? What was also crazy is this. They had a literal golden statue of Donald Trump. A reincarnated version of the golden calf. I mean, this is blatant idolatry. I am really concerned to see all of these upstanding Christian conservatives bowing down to idols. And then it wouldn't be CPAC without Donald Trump.
Do you miss me yet? Do you miss me yet?
No.
Many people have asked, what is Trumpism? A new term being used more and more. I'm hearing that term more and more. I didn't come up with it. It means low taxes and eliminating job-killing regulations, Trumpism. It means...
So that's what Trump is trying to define Trumpism as? Supporting low taxes? Trump, you didn't do that. Admittedly, I'm not great with the maths, but this Policy Genius article breaks it down pretty well on how Trump's tax cuts didn't do much for the middle class. In fact, he mostly hurt poor people and benefited the corporations and the uber wealthy who already take advantage of tax loopholes. High-income individuals were the most likely to see tax savings, while low-income and middle-class families saw mixed results. 88.2% of taxpayers claimed the standard deduction in 2018. The higher standard deduction wasn't enough to offset the loss of personal exemptions for some families. Businesses appear to have saved the most from the Trump tax cuts. Corporate income tax collected by the IRS decreased by 22.4% from 2017 to 2018. These businesses that already take advantage of tax loopholes, these businesses that are able to thrive and be so successful because of America, don't give back to the country that allows them to be successful. It's really disgusting and unpatriotic, and Trump's tax cuts only further benefited those people. And I know Trump's initial goal, his initial goal was, let's lower the corporate tax rate to try and incentivize corporations to come back in America, to bring jobs back to America. I know that was his goal, and on paper and in theory, it sounds like it could work, but it didn't. It just didn't work. And so instead, we have these corporations getting more tax cuts and low-income and middle-class Americans, hard-working Americans, paying just the same in taxes.
Protection for the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms.
Based. I'm down with that.
It means support for the forgotten men and women who have been taken advantage of for so many years, and they were doing great. And it means a strong military.
A strong military, as if trillions upon trillions of taxpayer dollars aren't already poured into the military. Trumpism so far sounds really lame.
You know, when you think about we love you, you're saying that about, I hate to say it, am I a politician? I don't know, maybe I'm a politician. I hate to admit it. But that's really, it's an honor that you would say it. We believe in...
He certainly lies like one. I'll give him that much.
Patriotic education and strongly oppose the radical indoctrination of America's youth. It's horrible.
Trump says we oppose the indoctrination of children. This is so frustrating when conservatives say this, because what Trump means by that is we don't want factually true statements like trans people exist to be taught to children. That's indoctrination. But yet when Trump formed his 1776 committee to give children a pro-patriotic, pro-America education, which by the way was factually incorrect on a multitude of levels as well, Trump did that to combat some private newspaper's 1669 project or something. Trump used his position as president to get down into some fight with the culture war, and in doing so, he peddled his own version of indoctrinating children. I don't want kids to have a pro and biased viewpoint of America. I want them to know the truth, good and bad, about America, because I believe that if you love your country, you will push for the country to be better. And I don't think you can push for real and genuine change for America when you've been brainwashed into believing that America is just the best country on earth and everyone else who thinks otherwise should shut up and go move to Afghanistan.
This election was rigged, and the Supreme Court and other courts didn't want to do anything about it.
He just doesn't stop. He's such a sore fucking loser.
Election integrity and election reform immediately. Republicans should be the party of honest elections that can give everyone confidence in.
Trump's lying right now, by the way. He is masking what he's really saying. He doesn't care about election integrity. The fact that the Supreme Court didn't take any of the election fraud claims seriously is proof that there was not any election fraud in and of itself. What he's really saying is the only fair election is an election in which I am the winner.
Without honest elections, who has confidence? Who has confidence?
His constant lies about election fraud is what's undermining people's confidence in our election integrity. There's not actual voter fraud. It's Trump's bullshit that's doing it.
A Republican president will make a triumphant return to the White House.
No.
And I wonder who that will be.
Well, there you guys have it. Trump's hinting. Looks like Trump's going to be running again. So we're all dead. Like, can we just change American politics once and for all, please? Can we get away from this whole, we either have Trump, the insane fascist weirdo, versus Biden, the liberal virtue signaling, constantly bombing Syria loser? Why is it always like, hey, we have grandma murderer here, we have rapist here, take your pick? Well, there you guys have it. Cuck Pack, where a bunch of conservatives went to lick the boots of Donald Trump while jerking themselves off over the false belief that they're freedom fighters, when in reality, they're just suck-ups to Trump. The golden calf. Please give this video a like, comment below, subscribe to the channel. Thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.